Táimid an seo inniu ag teacan Páirtí I Rosmuc I Connemara, ceann na háiteanna is starúil agus is Gaelic san tíar ar fad. Is an áit seo a cá Pádraig Mac Phiarsaigh a saoirí ribh níide agus séideag ag fólam Gaeilge ag scríb agus ag leagan amach plannaí chun a saor agus Gaelic a chur ar bun. We are here today at Pearse's Cottage, Rosmuc, one of the most historic and authentically Irish places in the entire country. It was in this place that Pádraig Pearse spent his summers prior to 1916, learning the Irish language, writing, and making plans for the realisation of his vision of a free and Gaelic Ireland. By all accounts, he found this setting to be very inspirational, and it is safe to say that the summers he spent here helped shape his vision of a Gaelic Ireland. This is a hallowed spot. There are many more like it throughout the country associated with heroic patriots and events, and they are places that every patriotically minded Irish person should make every effort to visit, as they can provide focal points for another national revival. Now, a century after Pearse and his followers made the ultimate sacrifice for their country, the contrast between the ideal that they fought and died for and what has actually emerged could hardly be greater. When the 50th anniversary of the 1916 Rising was celebrated in 1966, I think it is true to say that the majority of the political establishment had still at least some allegiance to Pearse's vision and ideals, at least in principle. While efforts by Irish governments to achieve that ideal may have been sporadic and ineffective, at least the ideal was not abandoned completely. Today it has been discarded completely and shamelessly in a gross betrayal of Pearse and his followers and all that they stood for. Now all the mainstream parties subscribe enthusiastically to the so-called modern dogmas promoting globalism, multiculturalism, secularism, equality, etc. Far from being embarrassed by their betrayal of Pearse and his followers, today's politicians actually take pride in the fact that they have, as they would put it, moved on from what they regard as the outdated ideals of 1916. In stark contrast to Pearse and his followers, today's politicians aspire to nothing more than a pat on the head or an occasional word of praise from their masters in Brussels. The savage harshness of the austerity measures that they were willing to impose on their own people just a few years ago in order to repay foreign bondholders is a clear indication of the depths to which our current crop of politicians will go in order to appease their European masters. Galway City, the major city in the west of Ireland, is no more than 40 miles from here. Just a few months ago, figures from the most recent census revealed that there are now more than 70 languages spoken by residents of Galway City. Does anybody seriously believe that such a scenario was part of the vision that Pearse and his followers laid down their lives for? In fact, for them and others who subsequently fought for freedom, that scenario would have been an absolute nightmare. The fact that it has been allowed to take place is akin to dancing on the graves of fallen martyrs. In recent years, the Irish people have been part cajoled and part bullied into an acceptance of sorts of the so-called European ideal, thanks to a massive, relentless propaganda campaign on the merits of globalism, secularism, multiculturalism, etc. But as the real nature of the European ideal becomes more and more apparent, i.e. a repressive, controlling, dictatorial form of modern-day imperialism, there is an ever-growing groundswell of opposition towards it amongst ordinary, decent Irish people, who are basically patriotic and nationalist in outlook. Since all the established political parties have sold out to the EU and the forces of globalism and its powerful, secret and sinister backers, the National Party is the only party in which ordinary, decent Irish people can now find a voice. The party's rapidly growing membership clearly reflects this. Our freedom, our identity, our heritage, language and culture are hugely important to all true Irish men and women. Today they are under threat as never before, but the ideals of Pearse and his followers are still alive and well and will triumph over the ideals of George Soros and his ilk. You can play your part in this triumph by joining the National Party now. Ar yesh ar ai.